I probably won't post this video. This is not a normal NALF video, especially for you guys who have watched my YouTube channel for a long time. This will maybe seem really out of character. I've never posted anything that's political. And not that this is political or me trying to convince anyone of anything or sway anyone, because something that I've learned is you will never convince anyone of anything. People have to come to conclusions and opinions and decisions on their own. So I'll never try to convince somebody of anything. I've had a lot of my European friends ask me over the last couple of days, what do you think about what's going on in America right now? And so this video is for me. This is honest for me just to say some of this stuff out loud, because I've learned that saying some things out loud is good and therapeutic. And then also just so you guys can get a perspective from an American who doesn't live in America anymore, lives outside. I live in Germany. Looking back in, what do I think about this situation? So, for those of you guys who don't know, there's another situation where a black man was killed by police officers in the United States last week in Minneapolis, George Floyd. I actually didn't even know about this at all because I purposely remain ignorant of all news and everything. I don't consume anything. I am reading some books. I don't look at Instagram. The only time I go on Instagram is to post my Insta stories saying, hey, new video. So I was completely ignorant of all this. And then on Friday at our football practice, my coach asked me what I thought about this. And I said, thought about what? And then so I decided, all right, I'm going to check this out, because I've remained purposefully ignorant, because boy, oh boy, ignorance is bliss, isn't it? So I learned about all of this. First things first is, wow, if you've seen the photo or the video of those police officers putting their knee on George Floyd's neck, that shit's disturbing and infuriating and, I don't know, downright evil. Absolute horseshit that a person of authority, person in a position who is supposed to protect citizens and civilians of the United States does that, murders them in front of, I don't know, I guess everyone, because it's all on video, in front of the entire world. So first things first, that dude, I won't even give him the honor of calling him a police officer, should be locked up. He should be tried and prosecuted for murder, and probably the other police officers also involved in the situation. I chose not to watch the video. I saw the photo. So I think that probably all four of those police officers that were involved should go to jail forever. So that's what has been a catalyst for all of this chaos going on in the States. So since then, there's been a bunch of protests and riots and crazy stuff going on. Here's what I'll say is, people should be mad. People should be pissed off. Let's not act completely out of emotion, and let's not burn our country to the ground. It seemed like that was happening a little bit at the beginning, but the people who are truly part of the movement of trying to better the situation are not doing that. And I think, shit, man, people should be pissed off. People should be in the streets. People should be protesting. Let's try and keep it peaceful for sure. Let's not make matters worse. That's not going to help anything. But I understand the emotion. I don't think that there's two sides to this. One thing that really, really bothers me about the United States, and it's become more and more clear as I've lived outside of the United States, is that it is just so polarizing and so divisive. If I know what your political affiliation is, if you're a Democrat, if you're a Republican, I know exactly what you're going to say about every single issue that happens. An issue happens right here, and then people on the left are going to go and say this thing, and then people on the right are going to go and say this thing, and they're going to argue about it, and guess what? The issue is ignored. Everything just turns into an argument between the left and the right. And this is what happens, in my opinion, with almost every major issue that happens in the United States. I hate that. There is a really cool story that I heard from a very wise person recently. Basically goes something like this. A boss sits at a table with two of his employees, white employee, black employee. There's a plate with 12 cookies on it. The boss sits there and eats 11 of the cookies right in front of the black man and the white man. And then he finishes the 11th cookie. There's one cookie left. He turns to the white guy and says, "Careful, that N-word's going to get your cookie if you don't go for it." I think that illustrates really well a lot of the situations that go on in America. There's this polarization and divisiveness that is just, I don't know, people are brainwashed to just, if something happens like this, I have to think this way and be on this side, and I am against these people. Most police officers are good, honorable people. I just had this conversation with Rudy the other night. Like, do you think people are inherently good or inherently bad? And we both agreed people are inherently good. All this bad nonsense is learned and taught. But clearly, there are some horrible people who are in the police force and do horrible, horrible things. And that absolutely needs to be changed. And we need to hold police officers and people in positions of power and authority should be held to a higher standard than the normal citizen or civilian. This is one of the things that I've talked to a couple police officers here in Germany, and they asked me about, like, why do American police kill so many of your own people? They're like, in these situations, we're trained to use our non-lethal weapons. We would never take out our gun until the very last resort. I guess this probably has to do with the fact that in the United States, a civilian is much more likely to have a gun than here in Europe. So maybe that has something to do with it. That's a whole nother conversation. But this most recent situation didn't even involve a gun. This was a slow suffocation murder. This isn't a two-sided issue. This should be American citizens, black and white, uniting to fight against a horrible situation and horrible system that needs to be stopped. So hey, if you're a hardcore right-wing conservative in the States, you should be pissed off about this situation where a person of authority of government is infringing on someone's freedoms and killing them. You should be absolutely appalled and infuriated. And people on the far left, stop using black people as tokens for virtue signaling. Okay? Be friends with people based on who they are as people, not of the color of their skin. The content of their character, huh? Young white people, particularly on social media, trying to virtue signal about how anti-racist they are and how many black friends they have. Like, why is it virtuous by nature simply to have a friend that is black? What is that saying? If you really look at it, it means that you think you're good because you're willing to be friends with a black person? What does that mean? What does that say about what you think about black people? I'm always really wary and skeptical about people who are like this, and then when they see a black person walking on the street, they call 911. I've had some really interesting and eye-opening conversations with some of my black friends. Oh, I have black friends. Cool. I also hate, by the way, when people are like, oh, I have tons of black friends. This is I've talked to some of my friends about this. Like, this is a warning sign. If somebody ever says, whoa, I have tons of black friends, probably somebody to be wary of. Anyway, I have tons of black friends. But anyway, talking to some of my friends, black friends, about their experience with police. I've had a couple run-ins with police in America, a few of them. And guess what? I never felt scared or threatened or anything. And I was, kind of being stupid, kind of being a punk. Talking to some of my friends about their experiences where they're doing nothing, driving a car and being pulled over and being scared for their life and having a gun pulled on them and, ending up having nothing happen because they did nothing wrong. A little bit different experience. Yeah, in 2019, white people made up 36% of the killings by police. There's 1,000 killings by police, 1,004. 36.8% of them were white people. 23.4% were black people. Oh, so more white people are killed by police than black people. Sure. But the proportion of the population that's black is only 13%. 13% of the population is accounting for almost a quarter of the killings, whereas 60% of the population is white, only accounting for 37%. So if you look at those ratios, you're way more likely to be killed by the police if you are black. Just for people who say, white people get killed by police too. Yes, they do. Nobody should be fucking killed by the police. I hope that this will be one of the last times that something like this happens in the United States. And it's devastating and heartbreaking that people will have to sacrifice their lives, basically, for change to happen. So I guess what America needs to do is not let those people die in vain. And actually make something happen. It sickens me and confuses me to see the nature of race relations in the United States nowadays. I just don't understand it. I feel lucky that I have been able to have my experience with sports and being on sports teams with black people from a young age and having that experience and just growing up with that and that being normal and it not like being a big deal. The color of your skin matters as much as the shirt you wear. I just don't get it. Don't get me wrong. What's going on in America is horrible and needs to be changed. But it will be changed because the people in America will make that happen. I firmly believe that. This is a young country and culture, adolescent culture that is going through growing pains right now. But it will get through it and get on the other side of this growth and be better for it. I truly believe that. And I know a lot of people outside of America, a lot of you Europeans who watch this, don't understand this, and I don't expect you to understand this at all, and you feel weird when Americans say stuff like this, but I am glad that I am from America. I have love for America. That's my home, and I feel positively towards it. There are for sure things that need to be changed and improved upon, but I'm glad I'm from America. And I know that makes people uncomfortable, and, whatever. I think America is extremely diverse in cultures, peoples, ideas, and it attracts great people from all over the world to come there and do great things. Look at, for example, Elon Musk, who came from South Africa, went to America, and look what SpaceX did with NASA last week. If you don't know about that, look that up. And that's, when I think of America, that's what I want to think of, and that's what I want the world to think of and see. And right now it sucks that what the world sees is all of this horrible stuff. But I hope that positive change can be enacted and the world can feel positively about my home country that I love and want the best for. So, okay, guys? Sorry for cursing, but that's how I talk when I get emotional. Also, just for fun. I love cursing. Sorry, Ma. All right, guys. See you next time.